Breaking news! The Rams are preparing for the next season, and their target is the Super Bowl. Many fans are confident that this year we will see the LA Rams achieve this coveted NFL title. If you believe the Rams have the capacity to reach the Super Bowl, hit the like button hard. If possible, write, "Go Rams! I believe in the Super Bowl." So be it, my friends. Every move this offseason reflects the urgency of Sean McVay and the front office. I hope everything goes well and that the Rams get there. Now we need to talk about the quarterback position, and it's impossible to ignore what just happened. For the first time since 2016, the Rams used a first-round pick on a quarterback, selecting Ty Simpson with the 13th overall pick. That alone says everything about how this franchise is thinking about the future. But at the same time, they are being extremely cautious in how they handle this situation, because Matthew Stafford is still the team leader, still the starting quarterback, and still playing at a very high level. From what has been released internally, the expectation is clear. Stafford is QB1, no question. But what's interesting is how the Rams might structure the hierarchy behind him. There's a real possibility of Stetson Bennett being positioned as QB2, with Ty Simpson as QB3, at least publicly. And this has nothing to do with talent. It has to do with controlling the narrative. The Rams don't want any kind of media pressure or unnecessary controversy suggesting that Simpson might challenge Stafford during the season. In a market like Los Angeles, this story could explode quickly, even if it doesn't reflect reality. Therefore, don't be surprised if the team adopts a cautious approach, keeping Simpson focused on his development in his first year, instead of putting him in the spotlight. Shifting to the running back room, there's another quiet but important battle forming. Kyren Williams and Blake Corum are clearly dominating this backfield, accounting for over 98% of carries last season, which tells you just how limited opportunities are behind them. But the real question is who locks in that RB3 spot. Ronnie Rivers was brought back, and that move raised some eyebrows. Not because he's a star, but because it signals that the coaching staff values what he brings, especially on special teams. Meanwhile, Marquez Hunter is entering year 2, and this is a critical moment for him. The competition between those two isn't about volume. It's about versatility and trust. And right now, Rivers may have the edge simply because of his special teams impact and familiarity within the system. Now, when you look at the wide receiver room, things get even more competitive. This is where fans should really pay attention, because the WR3 role in this offense, while not always heavily utilized due to the Rams' tendency to run tight end-heavy formations, still matters a lot when called upon. Xavier Smith quietly led this group in receiving yards last season among the contenders, showing efficiency and stepping into that deep threat role. But heading into this season, it feels like Jordan Whittington might be the favorite to take that WR3 spot. At the same time, Kanata Mumfield is pushing hard after showing flashes, and rookie C.J. Daniels could eventually enter the conversation as he develops within McVay's complex system. And that complexity matters. We've seen it before. Players don't always contribute immediately in this offense, especially rookies. Even someone like Kyren Williams took time before becoming a key piece. So if Daniels doesn't explode right away, that doesn't mean anything negative long-term. It just means he's adapting. At tight end, the Rams made another bold move by drafting Max Klare in the second round, marking back-to-back years investing heavily in that position. But the real focus isn't just on the rookie. It's on Terrence Ferguson. This is a huge year for him. The expectation internally is that Ferguson needs to step up and prove he can take over as TE1. Right now, Tyler Higbee and Colby Parkinson are still key figures, but with salary cap pressure building, the Rams need a younger, more cost-effective solution to emerge. Ferguson has the opportunity to be that guy, but he has to earn it on the field. Looking at the offensive line, there's actually some stability, which is something Rams fans haven't always been able to say. The projected starting 5 remains the same group that finished last season, and that continuity could be huge. At the same time, players like Keegan Trost bring valuable versatility as depth pieces, capable of filling multiple roles if injuries occur. That kind of flexibility is critical over the course of a long NFL season. Defensively, the Rams didn't make massive headline moves along the defensive line, but they did add depth through late draft picks and undrafted free agents. Players like Tim Keenan are expected to contribute more in run defense situations rather than as pass rushers early on. This unit feels more about maintaining structure rather than introducing immediate impact stars. At linebacker, one of the most intriguing names to watch is Nikhai Hill-Green. He comes in as an undrafted free agent, but there's a real belief he could carve out a role, especially in pass coverage. And that's something this defense desperately needs. There were clear moments last season where coverage over the middle became a weakness, and Hill-Green's ability to match up against tight ends and running backs could give him a legitimate shot to make the roster. Then, in the secondary, the Rams made some of their most important upgrades. Adding Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson in free agency immediately strengthens the cornerback group. These are players expected to make an impact from day one. Behind them, the competition continues, especially for depth roles and that CB3 position. Names like Emmanuel Forbes, Kobe Durant, and others will be battling it out, and this is a group that still has some unanswered questions despite the upgrades. And even on special teams, there are things to monitor. The punt return role, for example, is still not fully settled, with Xavier Smith currently projected but not guaranteed to hold onto that spot after last season's inconsistencies. When you step back and look at this entire roster, what stands out is how deep and competitive it is. This isn't a rebuilding team. This is a team trying to balance winning now with preparing for the future. And that's not easy to do in the NFL. The Rams are walking that line very carefully, especially with decisions like drafting Ty Simpson while still fully committing to Matthew Stafford. So now I want to hear from you, Rams fans. Do you agree with how the team is handling the quarterback situation, especially keeping Ty Simpson out of the spotlight for now? Or do you think he should be more involved earlier in the season? And when you connect all these dots, it becomes even clearer what the Rams are trying to build here. This is not just about stacking talent, it's about creating internal competition at every single level of the roster while still protecting key leaders like Matthew Stafford. The coaching staff understands that distractions can derail a season, especially at the quarterback position, which is why the Ty Simpson situation is being handled with such precision. They want him to develop the right way, learn the system, and be fully prepared when his moment eventually comes, instead of rushing the process and creating unnecessary noise around the team. At the same time, you can feel that urgency across other position groups. Whether it's the battle at running back for limited snaps, the wide receiver competition for that WR3 role, or the pressure on young players like Terrence Ferguson to step up and take control of their position rooms, this roster is being shaped by accountability. Nothing is being handed out easily, and that's exactly the kind of environment that championship teams are built on. Defensively, the additions in the secondary could end up being one of the most important storylines of the entire season. If Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson deliver at the level expected, this defense could take a major leap forward. And if even one undrafted player like Nikhai Hill-Green manages to break through and contribute, that only adds another layer of depth to an already competitive unit. So as we head closer to the season, keep your eyes on these battles, because they're going to define how far this team can go. If everything clicks, the Rams absolutely have the pieces to surprise a lot of people this year and make a serious run. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated with everything happening around the Los Angeles Rams, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now, drop a like on this video, and don't miss the next update because the biggest news is still coming. Go Rams!